Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Life with our brand new opening, courtesy of Mr. Casey Green.
Yeah, that is
Thank
awesome.
you, sir.
I love it.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. And it looks like the stream is working. Yes. So we're just, remember, folks, we're just ironing out all the little bumps here, just trying to make it all work together.
Life's a DIY project.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to the show. It is the, the 7th of April, 2021, show number 196. Getting closer to that 200. And I know, there is a special 200 coming up. If you want to be on the show, you have your own camera, microphone.
You got to have it at the end, Mark.
Internet.
Only the diehards get to hear that. You can't put it out too early.
I've just whetted their appetite. With us tonight, as always, we have Mr. Casey Green joining us from the DC area. How are you today, sir?
Doing quite well. It's been a productive day.
Fantastic. And Mr. Patrick Connor joins us from the upper west coast in Oregon. How are you today, sir?
That's where I'm at. I'm great. Hey, Casey, good job on that intro. That was really cool. That's the first time I've seen it. And we get to hear more of the music there. Who made our music for us, Mark?
Lee Moon.
That's right.
Mr. Lee Moon. Yeah, so thanks, Lee. And hello to all my Tesla-loving friends out there. We are here to help bring about a future free from fossil fuels. Yes.
Woohoo!
I was going to put that part in there for you, and then I ran out of time. So.
Yeah. We can mix
something to look forward to next week. Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see.
Whatever, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, this week, no exception for Tesla news. We've got a ton of it, so let's get to her. Patrick's got our first story of the evening.
That's right. So last week, right after our show, Tesla released their Q1 delivery numbers, and bam, they were a blowout. So they've smashed all their previous records from previous quarters. They produced 180,000 vehicles. They delivered 184,800 vehicles. This is just awesome. If you follow the auto industry, you know that Q1 is seasonally a low quarter. And almost always it's 10% lower than the previous Q4. Not in this case, not for Tesla. It was their best quarter ever. So that is just incredible. And think about they're delivering 184,800 in a quarter. Do you remember back in 2018 when they were struggling to get to 5,000 a week? Musk was sleeping at the factory. And now with this rate, that's 2,000 cars a day, 14,000 a week. So they've come a long way, and this really awesome numbers. So we might have to update our bet on how many they're going to make this year. I think I was at 900 and some thousand. I might be upping that to 1 million, maybe. That's exciting.
Yes, indeed.
And they did that with just 2020 rollover Model S's and X's from last before they shut the factory down for Model S and X.
Exactly.
Yes, very good point. Yeah, Model S and X were not in production in Q1, so that's and the refreshes, we're starting to see those leak out into the real world now. So those vehicles are back in production, and that's awesome.
We still haven't seen any deliveries though. So
nope.
Are these all test cars, or are they waiting?
So far, we've seen some on the back of car carriers. But in the wild, ones that are parked and people go up and film them, all of those to this point have been not plated, and they look like they're manufacturer cars.
So they do have a plate. It's been a manufacturer's plate, but usually no plate at all. Yeah.
Yep, we've seen a couple of yokes there. So they're coming soon.
Very few complete interiors, though.
Those are yokels, Patrick.
Yokels. The local yokel.
The local yokel. And we got the sound machine and everything. And to Patrick's point, though, what I find extremely impressive about the quarter is of course it being the first quarter. Like I said, it's typically the slowest quarter for any automaker, but and again, it's not like we're out of this pandemic yet. So other car makers are seeing up to 10% losses for their quarter-over-quarter numbers. But Tesla's still going strong. They're selling every car that they have. The production was a little bit lower than what the sales were, so it looks like they were selling, extra cars that they had in lots around the country. But it was fairly close to that number. But they had, again, fantastic numbers this quarter, and I can only imagine what quarter two is. If they did this well in first quarter, man, I'm thinking over 200,000 for next quarter.
Ooh, that would be exciting. And then, if we're lucky, we start seeing some production in Q4 from Berlin and Austin.
Yes.
That would be nice.
Even a trickle would be wonderful to see some of that hit 2021's numbers.
Right. Shanghai Part 3.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we've got, that's one of the stories we've got here tonight. Fantastic news. And it looks like there's no slowing Tesla down. They're just running wide open at this point.
And the first one to the chat was JT24, followed by Derek.
JT, how you doing?
Hey, JT. What up?
We're going to move on to the next story, and that happens to be about China as well. So VW in China, which of course is a partnership between a Chinese company and VW, they have had to purchase EV credits from Tesla because, of course, Tesla, making nothing but EVs, gets nothing but credits and has no use to them because these other Chinese companies, and in this case VW and a Chinese company, they have to have a certain amount of sales of EVs based on what their ICE car sales are. So that certain percentage, if they don't meet it, they have to put in credits in order to balance out that number. If they don't do that, then there's stiff financial fines that happen that obviously cost them much more than what it would be to buy credits from another automaker. So Tesla receives 5 credits for every EV they sell, and of course they just bank them. And in this case, VW and the Chinese partner they have decided that they wanted to buy those credits in order to get their spreadsheet even with the amount that they have to achieve in a quarter. So a nice little bonus for Tesla as they start to receive these funds. Have been around the world for a number of different areas in the world. And it's like an extra little bonus that they get. It's nothing that's going to, pay for everything for the company, but it's a nice little bonus they get to put in their pocket, and they have been doing this for some time.
A little bit of free money.
That's right. That's smart. And I wonder if it's we know that the VW CEO and Elon get together, get along pretty good. Based on the media frenzy we've seen when they have been together. I wonder if they got a little bit of a better deal, possibly. Don't know.
Maybe.
No. That's not how that works. That's there's business, and then there's So I'm glad Tesla's getting the money. I wish that they didn't have. All these other dealers should just let's see. They should do this. They should get Beyond Oil. Exactly. So I look forward to the day that Tesla does not get this money. But they should be rewarded for what they're doing. It's the right thing, and the other manufacturers need to get on board with going electric.
The good thing is that they don't count on this money, so it's all gravy.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, so if this means they can put out some more superchargers and build their factory a little faster, awesome. That's all good news.
Yeah. Absolutely. Next story is there's been some new construction developments in China recently. What has happened is that there is a plot of land that is just south of the current Giga Shanghai. And that plot has started to receive some construction. And the rumor du jour is that that has been purchased by Tesla, and that particular site is now under construction for yet another production line that Tesla will be running. So we've got a little photo here that we can share with the viewers. And let me just share the screen there. Boom. And there's the picture. So we've got, it looks like a piling machine is on the land. And there is the Giga Shanghai that's just to the north of this plot of land. So they have been keeping an eye on this plot previously, and other industry analysts had believed that this plot would be used for Tesla possibly in the future. And now the construction started. Now we've got a flurry of activity, and of course, many people are keeping their eye on the site to see if they're hiring the same groups that put together Shanghai, if it's going to be looking like it is a Tesla actual new factory. And if this is the case, could this be the Model Next factory? Possibly, because the plot of land that is currently Tesla Shanghai as a whole is quite filled up, and it's basically a Model Y line and a Model 3 line takes up the vast majority of that spot. But this is something that we'll be keeping our eye on as the time progresses and the building has started. Now, if this started at the beginning of the week, so I would say that the building should be done in about a week and a half.
By next show, we'll be telling you all about it.
Next show, we'll have an update.
About the 20,000 cars they built.
Shanghai can move, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah.
So I would go with Model Next or on-site battery manufacturer.
Both good.
I would probably lean against on-site battery manufacturer just because you don't want to give them all your secrets.
That's interesting. Is there a problem with keeping all your secrets at one plant?
They have good battery partnerships there right now, so that's probably not what's constraining them, at least in China. But
especially since they don't need any.
It could be both.
It could be both, but they also don't need the high nickel there, so.
Yeah, and that's what they've been doing, right? Is they've been pulling in those pouches from LG and other manufacturers, cattle. They've been getting the battery packs from others as well for that site.
They have bricks and cylinders, no pouches.
Yeah, so if they did a iron phosphate battery there, then they're not giving away secrets, and yet they can still have production for the volumes that they need.
Yeah. Okay.
They do. I'm excited to find out.
We shall see. Casey's got our next story. The first of many Supercharger stories tonight.
Yes. So Elon Musk on Twitter has confirmed, once again, reaffirmed the 50s diner supercharger that we've been waiting for with the drive-in. And that's going to be in Santa Monica, which we talked about, last week or the week before. And it's going to be a 62-stall V3 supercharger. And this will be exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah, with a movie theater, right? Movie screen?
Something about the 100 best movie clips. So, not the whole movie, I am assuming. Just the best clips of movies. I don't know. What's the best clips mean? Is that a short form for the whole movie, or is that just a clip?
It's probably going to be like the made-for-TV cuts of regular movies, but it'll be made for Supercharger sessions.
So all movies will be done in 15 minutes, is what you're telling me.
Well,
it's just going to be Ice Pirates over and over and over.
Right. 10,
no, Spaceballs. I take it back.
Right. 10 to 35 today, and 15 by the end of the year.
Now, what's interesting is that this was already approved by Santa Monica Council. Then, about 3 days later, it was put on hold under a new ordinance that went out that said there was a a housing emergency, and they had to look at how long it was going to, what this was going to do affect land that was in usable area for housing. And as far as I had heard, the last on that is that it could take up to 2 years to decide whether or not the final permit would be given, or if it would be held for public housing or put up for, I guess, bidding for another, somebody else that's going to build housing. I know that Santa Monica Council, during the live meeting they had with Tesla, they had asked Tesla during the meeting if they would consider putting housing maybe above the superchargers. And Tesla's going, we build cars and superchargers. We don't build housing.
It'd be a great way to test out the Tesla HVAC, and a terrible way to build your solar panels.
Well, solar panels keep going higher, right?
Keep going higher. On the very top.
Yeah.
That's true. They don't have to give the solar power to the residents.
But needless to say, the Tesla representatives were kind of surprised that they were asked that question about the housing. And then, of course, 3 days later, the whole thing was put on hold because of a public emergency for housing. So obviously that particular counselor knew some of the what was in the background or going on based on that question. But anyways, so Elon got on the Twitter and said, thanks to Santa Monica, and we certainly want to have this supercharger, and then mentioned about the 50s diner and the movie clip thing. So we don't know if it's already done. Santa Monica certainly hasn't said anything since that point. So, but with Elon coming out on Twitter, I would think that he's got some inside baseball information on this as well.
Yep. I'm curious if the sudden re-reversal had anything to do with NIMBYism or not.
Don't know. Next, Casey, another supercharger story.
We change this title here. And so how about the world's largest supercharger coming online? And it being at a site that already has superchargers. So the Harris Ranch group...
I've been there a couple times.
Organization, they have tweeted that the 100 stalls are confirmed for the permitting on the new supercharger expansion for them. And some folks have speculated that it might have the first MegaCharger installation. It's possible. There's room for the trucks to come in there, but I think once you add 100 cars and a bunch of just like regular individuals, it might not be desirable to have semi-trucks in the same space as the cars.
But you notice in this photo that there are a couple of big rigs parked in the new area.
Mm-hmm. How many stalls was Harris Ranch when you went through there, both of you guys?
Oh, I don't remember how many. Maybe 10.
10?
I'm guessing.
Okay, so if you 10x that red spot, it would fill this area up, but that doesn't mean that the trucks couldn't come in on the edge.
Right. They could make it specially that there is like a drive-through section for the trucks into a fuel stop for them. And of course, if this is going to be the first one, we're not talking that they'd have to make 30 truck MegaChargers. Probably just 5, something along that line.
Or even 2, just people who couldn't make it over the pass.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see it. It's right along the I-5 corridor, right in between San Francisco and LA. So perfectly placed for trucks, halfway between Los Angeles and San Fran. So it's a good spot if they are going to start with it.
Bring your nose plugs or bioweapon defense mode.
It's interesting that if you look in that picture there's true zero hydrogen at the bottom part of the right. Yeah, right there.
There it is.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder what's going to get used more often, hydrogen fueling stations or EV charging stations.
Well, seeing that they're going to have 100 chargers here, I would say it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
That is a ton of chargers, and as mentioned, it will be the largest in the world at the 100.
Yes.
So, very good. Okay.
New advances. This will be interesting to watch.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our Twitter feed, The Tesla Life on Twitter, as well as The Tesla Life numeral 1 on Facebook. Patrick narrates the Facebook for us, which we appreciate. Thanks very much, Patrick. And we pump out the news all week long. So if you want to see what's going on during the week, just drop into either of those two feeds and you will be updated.
Derek tells us that there are 18 superchargers at Harris Ranch currently.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Next, Patrick's got a story about another tech behemoth that is connecting with Tesla.
Yes, I do. Okay, so this is from drivecanada.ca, and it's titled Apple Picks Tesla to Provide Batteries for Its Solar Farm in California by Heather Park. So just a quick recap here. Apple's revealed that it will be building a massive battery storage project for its solar farm in Northern California, and they will be using 85 Tesla Megapacks. That is a total of 240 megawatt hours, and Apple claims that that would power over 7,000 homes for an entire day. So I did the math on my house, and it would run my house for 4,800 days, or about 13 years. Just put it into
on one charge.
Charge that up once, and you could run my home for 13 years.
I was reading about was it Fort Hood in Texas? How they have half their power coming from solar and wind, and they could use something like this.
Yeah. So anytime you have, I've talked about it on the show several times. I have a Powerwall now, and it's just been so much fun to play with it because it used to be. I've had solar since 2007, and when the sun shines, we make solar, and if it's more than our home uses, then it goes into the grid, and that's great. We're feeding the grid, but we're only able to do that when the sun shines. And like today, it's been a pretty cloudy day, but yet this morning for 4 hours we ran on battery from yesterday, and not because we had to. The grid is working fine, but that was peak time, and so we got to use yesterday's sunshine to power our home this morning to avoid peak rates. And when you have storage like this, you can make those kinds of choices, and it gives you so much more flexibility. It allows for renewables at much higher levels integrated into the grid. I like to think of it as turning energy digital, and you can turn it off and on whenever you want. And this is not just analog of it. It runs and you have no control over it. So yeah, this is pretty exciting stuff.
So if you don't take the credits, can you then do rate arbitrage with your Powerwalls, or is that just not allowed on the home units?
So it depends on what country you're in, and it also depends on whether or not you have solar. So in the U.S., you cannot charge them from the grid if you have solar, unless it's during a storm watch event, and then They will charge from the grid. But
that's
in the UK,
assuming that you got the credit, right? Or is that for anybody?
That is for anybody. So yeah, I did not qualify for the federal incentive, and yet I'm still bound by that, which is
sucks.
Yeah, I would like Tesla to give users the ability to control that, but it's really their software is intended for someone who bought solar and Powerwalls and installed them all at the same time, and I fell outside of that, so I'm not, I don't get the special little thing I want. I'm not too upset by it. I'd like it, but I'm not gonna like pound the table saying I demand.
You should get Auto Bidder as a consolation prize.
Yes, yeah. So that's effectively what I'm doing. Is I've looked at the rate chart and I know when they are, and I've got it right here so that I can. Yeah. So yeah.
You've got Patrick Bidder.
Yeah, exactly. Multiple times per day, I'm going in and changing the settings in the app so that it does what I want to optimize for my situation. And the cool thing is I've had it for 4 months now, and they've already made 2 improvements to the app. And so I expect that some of the things that I'm looking for in that app will be there eventually. Right now they have a weekend rate. Well, my Saturday and Sunday are different. And so some utilities have it that way. Well, Tesla's app doesn't support that. In the winter, I have 2 peak times. It's a dual peak or split peak, and Tesla's app doesn't support that. Well, I'm sure that they will very soon. So yeah.
I saw during, I don't know if it was Green or somebody else's dump of the latest app update, that they support having a power pack at the house. So you don't necessarily need the corporate software to control your power pack.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really cool to see that Apple has joined in on this. It's a smart move.
It is, absolutely. Yeah, and all the big data center folks should be doing this. You should have renewable energy, should have their own batteries. It's the way to go. It's definitely the way to go.
Well, certainly the groups that have already committed to being neutral or 10% below or whatever they've committed to.
Microsoft.
This is
all
yeah
ever.
yeah. This is something that that battery storage is certainly part of the puzzle, and Tesla Energy is well positioned to take advantage of that because that's their whole business, is being able to off shift that power to other times, making it net zero power in effect for those corporations. So I definitely will see more of this happening as time goes along. As the Biden administration changes some of the rules out there, there's going to be a big uptick in this kind of stuff as well, with companies trying to comply, trying to be more green, and promising more of that to just their customers alone. Is something that will drive the sale of this as well.
Right, and then if there is an outage, you could run for days with it. So that's
exactly.
Cool.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I'm curious if Microsoft will offset the trucks delivering their batteries, or whatever other solution will help them go carbon negative.
Yeah,
maybe. Well, we get a little bit of an update on the Model S refresh. And this eagle-eyed person went up to one that was parked. And lo and behold, look at this. There is a panel similar to the Y that probably, in most likely, covers a trailer hitch spot. So may not be there as it sits, but certainly that positioning looks ideal for a trailer mount to be underneath that cover, or a place to add a trailer mount in the future. So we don't know anything specifically from Tesla, but it's looking like the Model S refresh is going to have a place for a trailer hitch.
That's where it is on Model X as well. I'm curious if I think the Model 3 2021 models have it in a similar place rather than the slot like they had before as well, which is it's kind of interesting because in Europe the Model 3, if you order it from the factory with tow package, can tow 1,500 pounds. I'm curious if the Model S will be closer to the Model Y with the 3,500 pounds, because that same frame with much more heft on it is towing 5,000 pounds with the Model X.
Right. Yeah. Trailers are very common in Europe. People don't have trucks for the most part, so instead they use small trailers, and they pull them with their cars, so it makes sense to have this. Also, if you can do a trailer hitch mounted bike rack, that's a lot easier than putting it up on top of a glass roof. And this is great. I think it should just be standard as something that's at least an option that you can get if that's what you want.
Definitely.
The Canadian version on the code to the website said that it can tow up to 3,500 pounds with a Class 2 hitch, but the U.S. version of the site does not have this code listed.
Because they want you to buy a Cybertruck.
You can do a Model Y to get 3,500 pounds.
Canadian pounds are different than American pounds.
Well, I mean, the fact that they don't use pounds for everything up there is a good start.
Oh, man. Exactly. So we'll keep our eye on that. Again, not official from Tesla, but based on what's being shown on the actual cars. And that's another point. We kind of mentioned this before the show as we were doing a pre-discussion before the show got started, is that none of us have actually seen Model S refresh that appears to be owned by anyone besides Tesla at this point.
Maybe a Tesla employee, but they're under the same bucket.
Right. So we're seeing either manufacturing plates in the wild, or we're seeing cars without plates at all. But it doesn't look like any real owners have it because there's been no buzz about it yet on like Reddit or Twitter or elsewhere. No one's saying, "Oh, here's just got my car, just picked it up." I think they'd be all over that because they would be the first. And there hasn't been any real announcements that we've come across. If any of you in the chat room has seen anything, let us know. But at this point, we haven't seen any chatter about a real owner taking possession of one of these refresh cars.
By next show. I'm going to go on record saying it's going to happen by the next show.
By next show, okay.
I will say it will happen by the end of next quarter. Somewhere between next show and the end of next quarter.
So you're giving yourself a heck of a runway there.
Well, we should have it by show 200. That'd be a nice 200 cherry on top.
That would be cool. That would be cool. But what I'm thinking is now that they don't have to rush, we might see them start sending them to Europe, or well, probably not, because they like to have them near the factory for the engineering.
Yeah.
But right now that there's no end of quarter push, and then all the people who made their orders are now seeing end of July or sometime next year for their deliveries.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know they were that far out. I just made the bet and I'm already lost. I'm already.
the end of next the ones for next year, I'm wondering if they're just too far back in line. The end of July seems like a reasonable slip if they missed a quarter. So, I mean, because they keep saying they're not going to do the end of quarter push, and then they just do it again and again.
Yes, they do.
It's tough not to do it once you've been doing it your whole life.
This is true.
Procrastinators will procrastinate.
That's right. That's right. Next story is Casey's got another Supercharger story. How about that?
What?
Yes. How about another Supercharger? So, I saw this early last week, and Tesla introduces a 50% supercharging discount at night in California to help with capacity. And then, in one of my local groups, I saw that our rates... Actually, it wasn't even my local group. It was my Charleston group for one of the local stations. And the rate doubles in the middle of the day. And...
So they install a supercharger after you guys pleading with them to install one.
Yes.
And then they double the rate during the day.
Oh, no, the rate here at my Supercharger.
Oh, okay. All right.
He was up in the area. Our Supercharger's here. The rates double during the day. So I'm wondering if they're trying a couple different ways to approach this to help reduce congestion at some of the high traffic Superchargers for folks that might be able to charge some other time, like locals and people in multifamily dwellings. But from what I'm understanding, over in Southern California, you guys could use a little load balancing, and that might be nice to have. South Dakota, Texas rally next month. Maybe.
So with this, like you said, a lot of people, I guess, in the Los Angeles area may depend on superchargers as their primary source of charging.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but having Tesla give them some incentive to do it when they're not busy, in the middle of the commute or in the middle of a holiday travel season, would help keep because I've heard of some fights already in California. It would help keep the tempers lower. It would make it so that their investment is stretched a little longer, so they don't have to keep installing as many supercharger stalls. And reducing the wait time would help also with the. You don't see any pictures of long lines of Teslas in the news. I saw one that wasn't in the news. It was just in one of the Tesla stomping grounds where it was about 20 cars in line in Southern California. And they said, oh, yeah, it's only going to be 10 minutes of waiting, but maybe it didn't actually have to be 10 minutes of waiting. At least not for the people who don't live in the area.
What's the situation charging like in the DC area, Casey? When you go out and have to supercharge, are you seeing full superchargers? Are you ever seeing that?
I'm seeing them completely empty or completely full. I've only seen one person wait one time. I'm able to just drive by them now that I've got a 120 where I park.
Nice.
Yes, but it doesn't seem to be. It seems like they plan their capacity correctly, and they've added 3 or 4 new stations since I got here, and those are in a similar state, either completely empty or just shy of full.
Right. Now, Patrick, you have your own charger at home, as I do. But what is the situation that you see locally in the Oregon area? And you've got some new chargers that have opened up too.
That's right. Yeah, there's one in the Tannersport area, not too far from where I live. It's new. And when I've driven down to San Diego a couple times, and the only time I've ever had to wait in line for a supercharger was in California. I've never had to do that here in Oregon. And they're either relatively empty or up to maybe half full. So I think we have just the right where you can pull in, pull up, plug in, and charge up, and go do what you need to. Yeah, so I think we have a pretty good setup here in Oregon.
Yeah, and I too, and anywhere I go, Tesla superchargers are rarely used, as far as I can see on my road trips. I'm not doing a great deal of road trips, obviously, but especially during this time that we're in. But it's been, just even looking at the car's app and, clicking on superchargers that are around me, and it's telling you how many stalls are available. I don't think I've ever come across something where it said, it was even 3/4 full. They're always 3/4 empty is what I find. But on my trip to Los Angeles about 2 years ago, I discovered that the corridor into the Los Angeles basin or the San Diego basin from Arizona, from that point into California, superchargers were all busy. Like in a couple cases, I did have to wait. In a few other cases, I didn't have to wait, but there was only, 2 or 3 available stalls. So it is a different story in California than it is elsewhere in North America, for sure.
Well, as our friend Rich Rebuild says, the California Camry.
Right. So having them where they're like 25-30% occupancy most of the time is probably just about right, because then when there is some holiday travel rush or whatever, they have capacity to handle that.
Yes.
If they're at capacity all the time, well, then it's really only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Speaking of capacity,
that's right.
So our friends at Tesla have we saw last year they were trying to entice some of Mark's neighbors to join up and host Supercharger sites, and now they've done the same in our country. So they have done a push where they want to have hosts that will host a minimum of 8 superchargers for as long as 20 years. And it seems like they want to do it right now, because you've got deadlines between May 14th and April 30th and May 14th. And according to this timeline that we get a sneak peek of, they're doing their shortlist awards on May 5th, their kickoff meetings on May 14th, and their agreements and reviews by June 18th, as well as location selection at that same point. And then by July 16th, they're going to start executing on their agreements. And I don't know if we have the article on it. No, we don't. So there have been some sightings of new style modular supercharger installations rather than the palleted temporary installations. We're seeing some superchargers with the concrete already underneath the pedestals and the version 3 cabinets, and that will be interesting to see how quickly these things can roll out.
Exactly. So they're improving the installation of superchargers, maybe with some prefab work that would allow them to set them up quicker compared to the current build that happens now.
Yep, and they're looking at 5 cities in California, including Fremont, as well as locations in Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Oregon, and Texas. I don't see any South Carolina on there. They're going to continue to miss out because of their how friendly they are to Tesla.
So yeah, this is important. If you have a business, or you know someone that has a business, definitely get them on this, because when someone comes in to supercharge, they're going to plug in, they're going to be there 15, 20, 30 minutes, and that's a chance to get a customer. And I know that we've stopped in Woodburn a few times, and the charging station is right there in the parking lot of Elmer's. Elmer's is a restaurant, and so we go in and have breakfast while it's charging up, and then hit the road and continue our journey. And Would I stop at that Elmer's if without the supercharger? Probably not. I'd find someplace else, or we'd do a drive-through or whatever. And but we actually plan our trip with that, knowing we're going to make that stop, and it's that way we don't eat before we go, and it's a, if we're heading that direction, it works out really well. So yeah, and that same thing could happen for your business if you get one of these supercharging stations there.
Exactly.
We stop inside all of those whenever we go through, not just to use the restroom, but once we're in there, then it's like, oh well, might as well spend some money.
Yeah, exactly. I have some loyalty to that business for doing this.
It does.
Yeah. Shout out to Lima, Ohio, which I find on my U.S. trips is a great supercharger stop with a whole bunch of restaurants all around the superchargers, as well as a couple of hotels. And that they all chip in and pay for the supercharger in Lima, or have been 2 years ago. So even the supercharging bill was free at that particular location.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I just boosted their business by 100%, I'm sure. But that's, I'm not guaranteeing that everywhere, but certainly there are a couple that do that chip in for the cost of the electricity and gain some customers out of it because they're all around the supercharger.
Wow. I've heard of destination chargers doing that, but never superchargers. So that's really cool.
Yeah, there's a few supercharger hosts that will do it. And then there's another subset that are sometimes will, like when they don't have cell service for long periods of time, they'll...
so they drop the connection and don't know who was there or what time period. That's interesting.
Potentially are sponsoring it. Okay.
No, there are some where the host is actually covering the bill, and others where they just happen to have put them in a spot where AT&T can't.
That's why that Model S was wearing a tinfoil hat when it showed up.
Because don't forget the car has a connection, the supercharger units have a connection, and the site has a connection.
Right.
Yes. So you gotta cut a lot of wires.
Well, with that, on to our next story. It turns out that Queens, New York, is going to be testing a virtual power plant.
Welcome to New Jersey.
What's that?
I said, welcome to New Jersey. Because we covered them doing it first. Right.
So they've looked across the river and decided that they want in on this action. So the utility in Queens is going to be teaming up with a number of individual homeowners in the hundreds, the article indicates, that they will be purchasing Powerwalls to go into the homes. I'm not sure if it's coupled with solar. The article didn't say, but I'm assuming so. And they are going to be using all of those Powerwalls together, these hundreds of Powerwalls, to prevent, to give the grid stability, prevent brownouts, and allow the utility to grab energy from those homes and, of course, pay them for the energy that's being used at certain peak periods. And this, again, is starting to spread. It's starting to catch on. As Casey mentioned, it's happened in New Jersey. It's happened in Vermont. It's happening in California. There are many different, and a larger scale one is being built right now outside of Houston. So this type of thing can be lowered right down to the homeowners, or it can be a pack that is controlled by Tesla itself. But I certainly like the homeowner idea because it gives the homeowner the ability to benefit not only from the meter share pricing, but also they have the ability that if there is a blackout, they can benefit that, or a storm, they have the ability to have some backup generation right at their own source and don't have to worry as much because they've got the ability to be on their own for a longer period of time as if they didn't have it and they had nothing. Yeah,
some of these virtual power plant projects are really cool. And some of them have some really good incentives. I'm not sure about this one.
I was looking for incentive pricing, and it wasn't indicated. Somebody on Twitter who was following us had indicated they've signed up for the program and would share some details with us once they got them. So awesome. We look forward to that.
Have a little follow-up.
So with that, next, Patrick's got a story about glamping.
That's right. So, as everybody in the Tesla community knows, there are a few people out there that, for whatever reason, really love to sleep in their Teslas. So they're
Sold their home to live in the Tesla.
and other things specifically designed. In fact, Tesla even has camper mode, right, as one of the options in the software because so many people were asking for it. Well, if you're getting a Cybertruck, you're going to be able to take this to the next level, baby. This is called the CyberLandr with no E, so LANDR, CyberLandr. And it is a camper that is made to fit in the vault, which is what Tesla calls the bed of the Cybertruck. And these are still in development, but so take this all with a grain of salt. But they have prices, and looks like they're taking down payments, and the prices range anywhere from $40K to $50K. So hopefully you're sharing some of the Mark's sharing the photos there, so you can see what this looks like. So it has a chef's kitchen in it with a large tri-level sink and a colander, a wash bin, drying racks, cutting board. It's got touchless faucet options, voice control options. Now that's just taking camping way beyond what you need to.
I've got an app for my faucet.
I want to see nature, not sleep in it.
Right. So let's just go through some of the other things. It has home automation, effortless control of the climate and lighting by
that
voice.
Bit right there when you fold the chairs out into the bed and they come near the TV. That's a little close.
Yes, yeah. So that looks the bed cushions. You can also reconfigure them to make a chair. That's pretty cool. It has a 32-inch 4K UHD smart TV, and not only that, the TV has connections so you can use it as a second screen when you're doing a home office. Because I'll get to the home office section in a minute. It's got a relaxing bedroom. So remember, this fits in the bed of a truck. So it's not like a 5-room home. So there's going to be a little less space than this might sound from just this lofty description. So it has a spa-inspired bathroom with radiant heated porcelain tile floors.
One tile.
One tile.
Yes.
A big one. It's a big tile.
Yes, one-piece tile. This part worried me. Recirculating shower with 4-stage.
Yeah, that's me too.
Yeah,
talking about that before you get in.
I don't want the shower water to be reused. Maybe I'm just being a little too picky, but it has a dry flush toilet, self-cleaning bowl, meaning no black water tank to clean. That's nice, and a corner office with a view. With Starlink satellite dish providing a high-speed, low-latency internet connection so you can do your work on the go, Zoom conferences, email, etc. It has Wi-Fi connected to that, and here's the TV you can use as a second monitor from your home office. So there you have it. There's the highlights of it. If you want to check it out, it's at CyberLandr.com. Again, CyberLandr with no E. There it is. What do you guys think?
Well, it has one E, just no E in Landr.
In cyber, right? Yes. Landr. There's a Landr with no E. Yeah.
But and the windows on it are electronic windows, so you can black them out or just dull them down to an appropriate see-through ability that you would like at that particular time, which is very cool.
Yes.
It has everything I would like and more. But it costs as much as the car.
Okay, so pricing. This unit is going to be $50,000, but on the website it indicates that if you get in early, you can have discounts between $5,000 and $10,000, depending on putting it down as little as $100 or as much as $5,000, and that spread gives you the $5,000 to $10,000 off the price. So it is. It's an interesting solution for some, and certainly I could see it working for some. What's really nice about it is that there's no loss on aerodynamics since it is a fold-up camper.
That's true.
So wherever you're going, your truck is basically only going to lose 5%. It's about 1,200 pounds to be a dry weight and about 1,350, I believe, for a wet weight. But that goes in the vault and is covered, and therefore there's no drag on the truck at all. So when you're going to another campsite, that's going to be a bonus that you're going to get almost the full amount of your battery for traveling the distance, as opposed to being a wind sail that has to be compensated for. So love that feature, and that of course contributes to some of the smallness of it. Because it does a lot of folding like a piece of origami, but it gives you that ability to fold it out to be a little bit larger and be a usable space. I would say that when they say the bed was a queen size, and they said there's room for 2 adults and 2 children, in that I was thinking 4 people in that space is a lot. But if you're just sleeping there and, someone's using the office, one person at a time, or the kitchen, it'll work. If you're an outdoorsy person and want to have those conveniences of home, man, talk about nice having Starlink built into it. Big plus.
It said queen size bed when you fold out both of the chairs, and 2 adults and 2 children. Where did the children sleep?
They go underneath the bed.
Underneath the bed. On sleeping bags.
Well, of course, the queen size bed is counter height because it's going across the kitchen counter. So there is definitely room below. But that's why they say kids, right? You can put kids anywhere, apparently.
This is true, because if you put an adult on the floor, they're going to have a bad back in the morning. At least the foliage would have a little bit of cushion to it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but very cool.
You mentioned how aerodynamics. The other thing is supercharging. If you're pulling a camper, that's a lot more difficult. As Casey knows, pulling a trailer makes supercharging a little more awkward. And here, if it's tucked in the vault, you pull in, charge up, away you go.
The tailgate is closed too, so you don't got to worry about if the tailgate's in the way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently they're going to be setting up shop. The company's going to be setting up shop in Austin area. So their plan, of course, is you pick up your Cybertruck and you drive over to their place, and they load a camper into the back, and away you go home.
Yeah. So they talked about a solution like a dolly or something else to
pull the camper out when you don't want to. You want to use the bed for other purposes.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Right. I'm thinking either, like they said, dollies, or maybe like a hoist on your garage roof, or some legs like the other pop-in campers where you can just drive out from underneath. Yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah, that's a good point. That at that weight, it's not like you can just grab it and chuck it out, and it doesn't have wheels, so you can't manhandle it around like you would a trailer. So it's definitely that part will be difficult.
Or you can just leave it always in there, and anybody asks you for help moving stuff, you can say, "Oh, sorry, it's full."
If you want to move stuff, you can rent a trailer and just pull it. So hey, if you're going to order one of these, let us know. If you're a reservation holder for a Cybertruck and you're like, "This is exactly what I wanted," leave a note below. And also, right now, these are all just renderings, right? When they have prototypes and other stuff, I want to see that this is turning into a real product. And not just, doing what they've done so far, putting up a website, is a lot easier than making a real product. So it'll be interesting to see how this progresses.
Hopefully it retains like 99% of the features, or all of them would be nice.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to give a little shout out to Alan Nolan for beta testing our podcast for me and verifying that some of the changes we've made have done nicely. Speaking of the podcast, we are finally on Stitcher, the same service that's in the car. Unfortunately, when Mark went to go look, it didn't show up anywhere.
Oh wait, you said Stitcher, so the car has Slacker.
Sorry. Well, Slacker is the radio.
Slacker's the media player.
Yeah.
Stitcher is the podcast player.
Right. So I use Stitcher for podcasts, but that's not natively supported in the Tesla, is it?
It is. That's the podcast app.
Oh, I did not know they were using Stitcher for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just do everything on my phone.
So if you search Stitcher on their website, you can find our podcast. But in the car, not so much. So we're trying to figure out why that is. But if you can find it, let us know as well. Send us a note. But we're playing with that, trying to get that fixed up.
Yep. And Mark found it right at the top. I typed in the Tesla Life, and then I had 8 scrolls on my phone before I got to it, despite the fact that it was the only exact match for the Tesla Life.
Right. Were you using the app or were you using the website?
On the website, I couldn't find it at all, but on the app, I found it 8
So I found it in the website. Exactly. Okay. The Tesla Life show. Nice. And it appeared number 1. But
I'm hoping that they're still rolling us in there.
Maybe it's just a rollout thing. With that, certainly wanted to give you guys an update. The show 200 is coming up. Since you're watching to this point, I'm sure you've already given us a thumbs up. If you haven't, that's a subtle hint. But if not, what we're doing is on show 200, we're going to bring on a couple of guests that are longtime viewers. So we'd like you to let us know if you have a camera, a microphone, and high-speed internet, and would like to spend an hour with us on a Wednesday evening starting at 7 p.m. in not too distant future, about 4 weeks from now. Please send us a note. We're taking the first top 3 that come to us. Send us a note and let us know you'd like to participate, and we will arrange to do a test and things of that nature and get you ready for that. So look forward to that. And with that said, let's do some shout-outs. Mr. Green, what have you got for us?
Certainly. If your subscribe button in YouTube is this color or close to it, you should click it so it turns gray. And
nice.
You'll learn a little bit more about what...
Perfect.
Just grabbing the icon right there.
I've got a couple videos coming out this week. One will be a short one. I thought about doing it as members only, but I decided that we have a lot of Musk Co-nerds. I've got a video where my dashcam caught SpaceX Crew Dragon DM-1, the uncrewed one, as it went off to space. It was a little blip. Yeah, it's a little short video. And you can find that at youtube.com/Casey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. You can see that right here.
Mr. Connor, what have you got for us this week?
Hello, everybody. I am with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I also blog occasionally at carswithcords.net. So the one I have up there now is the difference between science and engineering, and why engineering is what really matters, although science is kind of cool too. So there you go.
Very good. Very good. And with that, we'll mention one more time, please subscribe, please give us a thumbs up, and we will find out what's happening next week with you on the Tesla Life. Thanks, Lee Moon, for the music, and everyone out there, have yourselves a fantastic week, and we'll talk again soon.
Stay positive. Tesla.